Welcome to the Waffle Flower channel. This is Nicole and it's in the details. Today I'm going to share a spring themed scene card featuring just one stamp set, a die cut frame, and a die cut border. I'm using the Welcome Spring stamp set to stamp some spring themed images on some Nina Solar White cardstock. I'm using the tulips. I'm going to have 5 of those. The little sheep, the bunny ears, several of the butterflies, and then I didn't stamp it right now, but I will here in a little bit, the little chick out of the cracked egg, and then the little open heart. I'm going to have multiples of those. So quite a bit going on. I like to really build my scene and make sure that it is really nice and full. And that oftentimes means having quite a few images. So I really like to start with everything that I need to color all at one time, stamped out on my paper, and then I'm going to simply start coloring. I'm using Copic markers to color in all of my images. The exact color combinations I'm using are shown across the bottom of the screen. I've got some yellow tulips here with Y11, 08, and 18, plus a little YR04 for a little more depth and dimension. For the greenery, I'm using YG01, 17, and 13. There's going to be 2 of these yellow tulips. I will only show the coloring of one of them, as well as I'm going to cut out the coloring of all the rest of the greenery, since it's all going to be exactly the same. I really worked on building up the color on the leaves and things with my markers, trying to get that perfect spring green color combination, I guess you want to call it, there for the greenery. Next, I'm going to have a little bit darker orangish red tulip. I'm building this with YR04, 9, and then R29 to even darken and deepen it more. This is the only one of these. My last 2 are going to be in shades of pink. You can color them any colors you wanted to. I wanted some kind of soft pastels and then a little bit more darker pop of color with that more orangey red flower. For my pinks, I'm using RV00, 10, 63, and 55 to darken that up even more. Work on blending that out to get the perfect combination. I accidentally forgot to just color one of the pink flowers in the video. I was going to cut out one of that and I didn't. So I'll just leave it in. Pretty quick coloring here. Once I have both of these colored, I'm going to move on to the rest of my images. The hearts are going to be in R24 and R29. I colored all 3 of those exactly the same. There are coordinating dies for all of these images, which is going to make it really easy to cut them out and then add them to my scene. The bows on the bunny ears are colored with the same shades of pink as in the pink tulips. For my sheep, I'm going to go dark with his face with some darker warm grays, warm gray 3, 5, and 7. Also, his feet are going to be in the darker warm gray shade. Blend all of that out. Go in and add some nice lighter warm grays to the rest of the sheep with warm gray 0, 0, 1, and 3. Then I will go in and add some dotting detail to the sheep to give him a little bit of texture to just kind of help reinforce the feeling that he's a fluffy little sheep. A little R00 for the insides of the bunny ears, as well as my light warm grays for the rest of them. Next, I've got those butterflies, and I want those in some really pretty shades, spring feeling shades as well. So I'm using B60, 63, and 66 for my first butterfly. All of the butterfly bodies are going to be in warm gray 3 and 5. Blend that out beautifully for that kind of pastel-y purple. I really like, these are blue shades, but I really feel they're kind of more towards the purple family. And maybe that's just how I see them, but I really like those. And then I've got some aqua colors for my little butterfly. And I'll finish my final butterfly with some oranges. That's going to be YR00, 4, and 9. Just not going to pull any of the red in here to keep this much more orangey looking. Then I will go ahead and stamp that little chick in the egg that I was talking about earlier that I forgot. I'm going to color him in with my yellows. This is my favorite color combination for coloring chicks. Y11, 08, and 18 with YR04 for the beak. And for the shell, I will be using B0000, 01, and 2. Kind of gives it that. One of the colors is even called Robin's Egg Blue. I really like those. I just want it to have a little tint of color. A lot of it will be hidden back behind some of that grassy border anyway. So once I have all of my images, I'm going to die cut them with the coordinating Welcome Spring dies. I've got a frame die cut from the largest stitched layer die. This is from one of the newest releases from Waffle Flower. I love this. I die cut it from some Bristol Smooth cardstock so I could do a little Copic ink blending. You could do this on regular smooth cardstock as well. I find that the Bristol Smooth cardstock, which is also excellent for the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers if you like to use those for kind of watercolor effects. The Distress inks blend really beautifully on this, and I absolutely love it. I'm adding squeezed lemonade and twisted citron to my background, a very light, springy kind of background. I want my images that I stamped and colored to be the focus of the card, but I want the background to help tell the story, to help bring it all together. Once I have a seamless blend for those, I will spritz this with water from a distress sprayer and then blot it dry with a paper towel. If I had been thinking, I would have inked up the frame at the same time I did this. Originally, I kind of thought I'd leave the frame white. I will show you in a little bit why I don't. You can see it here. I feel like it just doesn't highlight the scene the way I want it to. I love the stitching die cut detail on it, but it just doesn't make the whole scene pop. So I will add color to the frame just like I did for the background panel. I've got a greeting from Welcome Spring that I'll stamp right there near the top. I've also, you saw me inking up the border, the chunky grass border with the Twisted Citron Distress ink. I'm going to start adding and building my scene. I'm using some Zotz Bling glue dots to attach all of my images underneath that grassy border. I want some of the flowers to be sticking up a little higher than others. I did attach the grass prior to building the scene because I needed to really see where I was going to be able to put things. I'm going to tuck and kind of hide my little chick behind part of it. The flowers go first. Those are going to be in the background of the card, and they're really helping create those different height borders that add interest and fill the background. The rest of the small images are just going to be fillers. The sheep wearing the bunny ears is going to be kind of the highlight down there near the bottom, and he's going to actually not be sitting back behind the grass, but in front of it. I did trim off the excess chunky grass border, and then the little images are going to fill in. So the little hearts coming up from the sheep, and then the butterflies sitting on the tulips will finish off that whole scene. And here's where I really did not like the look of the frame. So oftentimes if I do a card like this where I have created a die cut frame and it's not working for me in white, I will go ahead and ink it up very similar to the background. So in this instance, part of it's going to be colored with squeezed lemonade, part with twisted citron, and it's going to create a seamless transition from the frame to the inside panel, where it's still framed up, but you can see what a difference inking up the frame makes. I'll add detail to the eyes of my chick and sheep with a black glaze pen, some detail to the cheeks of the sheep, adding little highlights to the flowers, all of this with a white opaque jelly roll pen. I'm also going to add some little dot detail to the butterfly wings. All little finishing touches that really make all of these pop. It's so much fun. You can create some amazing scene designs with simply one stamp set. And there are still tons of images in this stamp set if you want to try making other types of scene cards. I absolutely love when you can use limited supplies to get fantastic results for cards. Once I have my little highlights and all those little finishing touches for my card panel, I'm going to take a white side-fold card base, and what I oftentimes like to do is add the adhesive to the card base itself and then take my die cut elements to it. Instead of trying to put adhesive on the back of the frame, which is kind of delicate, I don't want it to get bent up, and then I can just simply put it in the adhesive, go ahead and replace the center panel, and my card's all put together. Now, if anything is slightly overhanging my card front, which it was just a little bit here, I'll just take my scissors and trim that up so it's nice and even. You could even stamp something on the inside if you wanted to. And finally, a little glossy accents for the nose, and the hearts will finish off this card. For more product information, please visit waffleflower.com. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.